Come on in. It's time for Lincoln Fire and Rescue on LNK TV. We're very happy to have you with us here today. Every month, we take you into the world of Lincoln Fire and Rescue. I'm your host, Dale Johnson. The overall topic today will be technical rescue, what it is, why it is an important component of Lincoln Fire and Rescue, and why that skill set needs to be practiced and practiced and practiced. The proper gear is very important. We'll talk about that today too. First, we want to talk about water rescue. LFR recently received a grant of almost $23,000 from Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, which will go to buy and already has purchased a dozen dry dive suits, giving each diver on the LFR water rescue team their very own suit. One of those dive team members is here today on LFR, on LNK. It's Battalion Chief Mark Majors. Chief,
Hi,
good to see you.
It's good to be here, Dale.
I do have license to call you Mark, don't I? We've
Absolutely,
known each other for a
you
while.
can.
All right. Mark joining me here today. Technical Rescue Coordinator Ashley Engler is part of your team, as are other members of your team.
Yep.
And we will bring her up because she is also an instructor.
That is correct. She's one of our lead instructors, as well as two or three others right now.
All right. So thank you very much for joining me. First, let's give props to Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. They do this all over the country. I believe they've made their presence known in 49 states, $6 million to Hometown Heroes, plus Puerto Rico and Canada. They're there too, benefiting 5,700 organizations and counting, and they come through for LFR.
Absolutely, they did. We looked at it in the first part of this year about applying for this public safety grant. It was quite painstaking to get everything and all of the stuff that we had to fill out during the application process. And all of those hours of work paid off. Firehouse Subs reviewed everything, and we were notified a couple of months later that we did get one of these grants. This grant was absolutely historic and monumental for us and our dive team, because it gave us the ability to designate the $23,000, almost $23,000, that we would have had to spend on this equipment. We can now spend that on the other equipment, so other important equipment that we have to keep our divers safe. That kind of took one of these big issues, the big ticket item, off of our plates, and now we can work on a lot of the smaller items too.
All right, that object in the corner of your screen is the suit. Let's show that off.
I have one of the brand new suits right here. This is what the suits look like. You can see on the wrists and around the neck and also on the feet. These are pretty well a full encapsulated suit. They have a waterproof zipper. We have some buoyancy compensation right here. It allows just a little bit of air, so when you go deeper into the water and it kind of packs in around your body, kind of sucks in on you, you can add just a little air for more comfort and things of that nature. These suits keep all of the nasty contaminants that are in our water. It keeps it off of our divers, which creates a more healthy environment for all of those men and women that are out there training, and when they actually have to do operations. That's what this suit enables us to do. So,
one size does not fit all. You and I have a pretty good arm's reach. Ashley, in contrast, as brilliant as she is and as effective as she is, she needs her own custom suit.
Yes, it was very important for us in years past, for the last probably 15 or 20 years. We've had suits that are really similar. One problem that we always had was just we had to try and find a few suits, and we picked just a couple in each size. And when we had a bunch of divers show up for training or something else, I need the extra large. Well, that one's already been taken. So we made do with what we had. And we've been functioning like that pretty effectively for quite some time. But to do it right and do it the safe way and the right way, it's important to have all of these suits kind of fitted to our personnel. And it does. It allows everybody from Ashley and a couple of our smaller, shorter divers to have a suit that fits them better. It's not so bulky. It doesn't interfere with the buoyancy, and as well as going up to our taller individuals. And it's so important to just make sure that we just have the right equipment.
With this photograph, you can see in contrast, Mark, your stature, a little bit taller than Ashley. You'd see that her suit wouldn't fit you and your suit wouldn't fit her.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. As you see in the photo, this was just taken, as you can tell by the sunburn on my face, this was just yesterday. We did a little bit of dive operation training, and when we were completing, this also happens to be a picture of the first time that one of our brand new suits has actually been utilized and used in the water.
Now, this photo that we have of Ashley, she's all geared up. So, and
Correct.
this isn't a rescue effort that would involve surface rescue.
No,
correct? Oftentimes
correct.
you have to go deep down into the water to perform your function.
Correct. This was actually a subsurface operation yesterday, training operation that we did, and we actually had the divers out, and we had a couple of our divers put on their suits and actually go down and work and function underwater and run some search patterns and just kind of get some good opportunity underwater.
This suit, you mentioned previous suits, 15 or so years old.
Correct.
Has the technology differed? Does it take a few dives to get used to the new suits?
They're really similar in to what our older suits were. We currently have some, I would consider our old suits, but there are newer old suits. They're more of a rubber all the way around, and we can still utilize those for more of an environmental, contaminated type of atmosphere or underwater condition. These particular suits are more of nylon feeling. They got the nylon shell on the outside and just keep us warm and dry, and that's the most important thing. But the big thing that wears out on them is you start to get little scuffs in the seats, the knees, the elbows. You start to wear out. One of the nice functions on these, I don't want to pull it apart, but these particular, if you get an old a snag or a tear right here in the rubber cuff, which is what keeps the waterproofing or water from getting in, you can actually take this out. It's like a Ziploc bag, and we can buy one of these for a fraction of the cost, zip in a new one, so it's not like we even have to buy a new suit. So that was one of the nice features and one of the things we looked at with our suits.
Take us back to that exercise, the drill. We saw Ashley and you at the water rescue. We have other photographs also of members of the dive team. They don't have the scuba gear on. Explain
Correct.
what their drill is, or what are they exercising at this point?
So this particular photo is a training that we had just probably a month and a half ago. With all of our water rescue personnel, we're slowly bringing everybody up and training everybody to the surface water. As you know, we have a lot of waterways and a lot of hard rain, as we saw just, 3 weeks ago? A lot of hard rain that can come through, and we can get a lot of surface water and surface flooding issues in town as well. This particular the training was held to bring everybody up to speed, kind of bring them up from square one all the way up in as far as swift water, surface water, flood water, those different types of things that can happen inside the city of Lincoln. So a little bit different skill set. One is underwater, and that requires a whole different skill set than our surface water. So it's important to train on both.
Generally speaking, how often is the need to not exercise, but be called to a water rescue? You exercise all the time. You drill constantly and train constantly.
Correct.
But to be called to a water rescue, how often is that a responsibility of LFR?
So LFR responds to only a few actual water rescue calls a year, but it's one of those where water poses, as we can see with some of the horrific storms that happened in Kentucky, even in the St. Louis area. Those type of events don't happen very often, but we get called out a few times a year to assist either in the city of Lincoln or sometimes we've been called out into the county to assist as well on different water incidents. But it's also one of those things that's very risky for us. So it's hard to judge how much do we train and how much time and money do we spend on those events. We're gonna probably spend a little bit more than normal because they're a very high risk type of event with a lot of different dangers for our personnel.
Well, not is it just water. Lake is different than a river.
Correct.
Waves, the current, you've got to tend to that, and you have to take, and also with a lake, it's probably deeper.
Yes, absolutely. So again, that just requires one skill set is subsurface, and we're working through all of the training and certifications that are required of our personnel, or what we have set as goals for our Lincoln fire divers. And then we also have those same similar goals for all of our surface water personnel.
Now, technical rescue is the broad term, and water rescue is a subset of technical rescue. Rope rescue is another subset. We've talked about that on this
Yes, we
program,
have.
too. Do you cross-train? Is there a separate rope rescue team and a different dive team, or do they cross-train?
Well, the great thing about it is all of our water rescue, all of our water rescue folks are all surface water trained. Then out of the group of surface water, 12 are trained in subsurface. Regardless of what position you're in, technical rope rescue is an actual prerequisite for all of our water rescue team. So all of our water rescue technicians all have rope rescue technician as well, because we may have to deploy our rubber Zodiac, hook ropes onto it. We may have to do high lines, a lot of those same things that we would do in the rope rescue with our truck companies. Our surface water folks need to have all of them same skill sets, because when you're around water in boats, you have to work off of ropes.
How long do you think the suits will last?
Well, when we take care of these, because of some of the features with these, we hope to get in excess of 10 years out of these suits. As long as we take care of them and we keep them serviced and maintained, and the fact that we can get the replaceable cuffs and the collars and things of that nature. Accidents do happen. We do get little tears and holes in them. The nice thing about them is anytime you buy a suit like this, there's a lot of reputable repair shops out there that'll take care of those issues, get them back to you in a timely fashion.
So back to where we began, props to Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation. Way to go. That $23,000 grant is coming in very handy, and it went to very wise use here in Lincoln Fire and Rescue. All right, so let's back up a little bit more. Technical rescue, the overall, we've talked about water rescue. Review rope rescue.
All right, rope rescue. Well, we did the same thing with our rope rescue skills here last year. We identified what we wanted, as we had spoken to previous shows. We kind of identified all of the needs and things that we should be working on, and all of the different hazards we saw in the city of Lincoln. And then we adjusted our rope rescue skills and kind of honed in on what we need to cover and what technical rescue level we need to be to meet all of those things that we see right here in our everyday lives.
I'm most familiar with rope. I'm now familiar with water rescue. Are there other types of technical rescue skills?
Yes, there is. Just coming up, we concluded our confined space rescue just this spring and early summer. And that took all of our truck company personnel to a confined space technician level. We have a lot of different businesses and companies in town that go into areas that OSHA would consider confined space. And your Lincoln Fire Department is actually the personnel that are be responsible by the city. You know, it says that we have to be able to supply that type of skill set. And we are the rescuers if anything goes wrong in a confined space for the city of Lincoln. So we really have to hone those skills in, which we finished up here this spring and early summer.
Is trench rescue a thing?
It absolutely is. And with all of the construction in town, there's a lot of holes in the ground. And that's another one of those low frequency, high risk events that we need to be able to respond to. The construction has grown over the city, as anybody can see. And we have we will be finishing up the second portion. Last summer we got in what I would consider phase one or part one of our trench rescue. And this summer here in just about 2 weeks, we're looking at finishing up part two, which will give them just a little bit more complex trenches, an L trench and a T trench. That doesn't mean much to a lot of people.
I was just about ready to ask you. You're using some tribal language here. That
Correct.
Maybe needs some. What is an L? What?
So we consider
And
a
a T
normal
what?
we consider a normal trench, that big straight line
Right.
where the bucket goes down. A lot of our water line construction that has taken place. There's a lot of just regular straight wall trenches in town. Anytime they come to a corner and they have to intersect, that trench looks like an L, and sometimes it looks like a T because of the way the water lines run. Each one of those is just a little bit different on how we approach it and how we set our trench panels, some of the boards that we set up against the walls to protect not only the person that's trapped, but our rescuers.
Why does LFR do this? Is it a requirement? Do other fire departments in cities comparable to Lincoln's size practice and train and be efficient and equip themselves the way LFR does?
Yes, they do. Everybody across the nation is doing these similar things. 911, when people get into trouble, they call 911, and we have to be able and ready to respond to a whole host of different technical rescue needs, as well as just what we would consider our normal routine calls. Those individuals that are involved in car crashes or sick or injured and everything. This is just a similar training. So yes, we're not alone in this. We just have very high and lofty goals that we are pushing for to try and make Lincoln Fire better and kind of stand out against some of our peers.
Yeah, having been part of the rope rescue, you brought me into that, and I very much appreciate that. But what I was impressed with was and when I say redundancy, I don't mean that derogatorily. There are multiple safety steps and accountabilities that I was impressed with. It isn't just one person's responsibility to make sure, oh yeah, we're good.
Yes.
There's another set of eyes on that, yeah, before it's good decision is made.
Every time. One of the most frequently terms we use is what if. We do a lot of what ifs. Well, if this doesn't work, we need to have a backup over here. How do we do this? And we approach everything we do on Lincoln Fire that way. Whether it's a medical call and we get ready to give medications to a person. We kind of do a kind of time out, just making sure that this is what we should be doing. And it goes right on into a house fire. We're in there working, and the command staff, we're all looking, and everybody's part of that safety element to recognize things when they don't look right so we can be safe.
That's what impresses me about the different facets of LFR and about first responder safety. Lincoln Police do it as well. LFR
Yes, they do.
Practices it, because if you don't have a backup, and in that 1 in 1,000 chance that something does go wrong, it can be tragic.
Absolutely it can. The first thing that happens when things go wrong is we have to stop, and where does all of the focus turn? It turns to our individuals that may be in trouble, and it pretty much pulls back from the original reason why we were there. So it's important for us to be really safe and do it in a safe manner so we can provide that service.
Show the suit one more time. I think that's impressive. It's not often we get show and tell here on the show.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
let's just show that.
So here's the suit right here. Waterproof zippers.
We got all kinds of hookups and...
Yep. Yes, we are so happy.
Is this your suit?
This is not my suit. Unfortunately, as the...
Do you get a suit, Mark, or do you? You're a member of the team. Do you get a suit?
I do not get a suit. It was one of those things that's important for me to the men and women that are out there doing it on a daily basis. I would love to have a suit, but if I'm in the water, bigger things have happened, and so we'll let those that need it the most have the suits.
Mark, thank you very much for coming in and explaining the intricacies of this dry dive suit. Before we go, it's not often we have an audience, but we do have one today. So why don't you give some props to the young men in the crowd today?
Absolutely, a shout out to Hudson and Harrison out there for participating and kind of joining a firefighter for the day and kind of living the life of one of us for an entire day.
Guys, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it. It's not often that we have another set of eyes on us, so thank you guys very much for coming in. Every month we are talking about Lincoln Fire and Rescue, the skill set that is practiced on a routine basis in Lincoln Fire and Rescue. So we invite you here every month on LNK. I'm Dale Johnson.